There's so much to childhood eye cancer. Child's life in sight, parents, adult survivors. Maybe our stories can't change the world, but we can add pieces to the puzzle to help complete the picture, raising awareness and empowering by shining a light on childhood eye cancer. This is the Ray of Hope.
Hi, my name is Lorena, and I am originally from San Antonio, Texas, but I grew up in Wimberley, Texas, and I am a bilateral retinoblastoma survivor. When I had my first child, my oldest, who is 9 years old, I didn't know there was genetic testing at that time. So my son actually had to do the eye exams frequently. He was cleared, never developed it. It took me a long time to have another child.
By the time her second child came along, Lorena had the genetic testing done on both her child and herself. She found out that she did carry the genetic mutation, but her daughter, who is now 2, did not. We know there's a 50-50 chance of passing on the mutation to a child.
For the longest time, I thought 50-50, as in if I were to have 4 kids, then 2 of them would have retinoblastoma. And that's like a common misconception. It's not 50-50 out of the kids, it's 50-50 chance per pregnancy. My son came shortly after that. Again, not planned at all. And at that moment in time, my heart sunk. And I just had that feeling. He was born, he had his screenings, and we waited for the testing, and the testing came back that he was positive for the retinoblastoma gene.
At 11 weeks old, doctors found tumors in Colton's right eye. It was July of last year. Doctors began laser treatments. By late September, after the tumors continued to grow, Colton would begin chemotherapy. Colton had a central line put in to administer the chemo drugs.
The moment it touched his line, my son went into anaphylaxis. He couldn't breathe. He was turning blue. The crash cart came out. The nurses were all coming out. I held him in my arms. Nobody took him from me. Everybody worked on him while I held my son. I have a medical background, but nothing could have ever prepared me for seeing my child turn blue.
That put an immediate hold on chemo until oncologists could figure out an alternative drug in no way related to the first. The alternative required a week's stay in the hospital every 3 weeks, a real challenge for Lorena with 2 other children and who recently moved into a new home.
It was rough being away from home for so long, so frequently. We had to do it. We had no choice. So my son had to endure a lot of chemotherapy, a lot of blood transfusions. And then also we had to deal with the fevers because his immune system was very, very weak. So anytime he had a fever, there we were going to the ER.
While getting the chemo, he was still receiving laser treatments. Doctors were happy with the progress of the chemo, so they stopped after 4 cycles instead of 6. Until Colton began showing signs of tumor growth. Lorena wanted to explore other options, and her doctors backed her decision. So she sought out Dr. Abramson in New York to discuss alternatives to systemic chemotherapy.
We were going to do the IAC, which is where they inject it through the artery in the lower leg of the child, and they feed it up into the eye, and it's more of a concentrated dose. His tumors were too small to get the IAC. His stubborn tumor would have been big enough, but it wasn't active. It was starting to respond. It was good news, but it was kind of like borderline, okay, well, what else can we do to stop this cancer? We ended up coming back to Texas and continuing treatment. We've been doing the EUAs with laser, and the last visit, he was stable enough to where they moved him from every 3 weeks to every 4 to 6 weeks. So right now, he's being very closely monitored.
Right now, with the tumors regressing, it gives Lorena room to breathe. But that respite can seem temporary.
You know, you get up to a high point where you're happy, you're calm, but then your EUA starts coming and you just start getting those butterflies again and you're nervous. And the closer to that date, the less I sleep and the more I think and the more I worry. It literally is an emotional roller coaster. It's a ride that we cannot get off of until he reaches about 6 years old. But then after that, retinoblastoma is no longer a concern, but because we carry the cancer gene, we have other risks, and that's never going to go away.
That emotional roller coaster that comes with retinoblastoma, well, Lorena rode that herself as a child who's been through her own set of challenges. That's next time on The Ray of Hope. The Ray of Hope. Shining a light on a rare childhood eye cancer. Supporting World Eye Cancer Hope. Life in sight for every child. Donate at therayofhope.org. That's THERAEOFHOPE.org. Share the post and help us spread awareness. I'm Thomas Reed, and thanks for watching.